be.
I so appreciate your support.
I just love you, man, and I look forward to seeing you again. I'm not going to be a stranger.
Listen to his show. Absolutely, 95.5.
Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why.
Shelley Winter Show live, local, topical, and relevant, my friends, on a Monday evening. At 7:06, we are coming into you hot. We got a lot to talk about. Bill Crane's going to join me in the next segment for a couple segments to talk about Lindsey Graham, also to talk about Mitch McConnell. And he's got some choice words to say about those who went on the attack last week. He didn't get a chance to come on last week, so he'll be on tonight. But before we get to that, I want to tell you a story, right? And if you listen all the time, you may have heard this story. I apologize if you're going to hear it again. But for those of you who are just joining the Shelley Winter Show and just starting to listen to the Shelley Winter Show, I want to tell you a story. When I was younger, right, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents because the way I grew up on Convent Avenue in Harlem, New York, on 149th Street and Convent Avenue. My grandparents lived on 150th Street and St. Nicholas, one avenue over, one block up, right? And my father lived on 147th Street and Convent Avenue. So my mom had me right in the middle of family, right? So I was never alone, right? And I was a latchkey kid. Growing up in the 70s and 80s, I was a latchkey kid. I had a key probably in 4th or 5th grade. And I got on a bus, went to school, came home. My mom was at work. I came home, went in the house. Or sometime I went to my grandparents' house. Sometime I went to my dad's house. But I was a latchkey kid, like a lot of kids growing up at that time. There was no worry about what parents worry about now. So anyway, growing up, Saturday nights, my mom would go out with her girlfriends sometime on Saturday nights, and my aunts and her cousins and my aunts and her girlfriends, her coworkers, whatever, they'd go out as women on a Saturday night, and I would go to my grandparents' house, one block up. And so I'd spend the night there on Saturday night, and Sunday morning we'd all go to church. I'd go to church with my grandmother and my grandfather, and we'd go to church, St. James Presbyterian Church. And so when we went to church, I noticed at some point in my life growing up, I noticed that my grandmother and this woman who went to our church did not get along. They did not like each other at all. And my grandmother would complain about this woman. I'm sure this woman would be complaining about my grandmother wherever she was with her family. But I hear my grandmother talking about this woman and complaining all the time about this woman. She said this about me, or she didn't do this, or whatever. And you're a little kid, you're not involved in the conversations, but you can listen to what's going on. And then one day I was at my grandparents' house, and the phone rang, and my grandmother picked up the phone, and she says, "Oh, hello, oh, that's so sad. I'll pray for her family. I'll pray for her soul. Give the family my condolences." She hung up. I saw her get sad, and she went on about her business. And I said, "Grandma, what was that? Who died?" And she said, "Oh, Miss whatever the lady's name is." I said, "Well, why are you sad? I always heard you talking about that woman. You didn't get along with that woman. Why are you sad?" And she said, "You never speak ill of the dead." This is what my grandmother told me. I was a little kid. Never speak ill of the dead. Not only that, she's passed on. So whatever we had between us is gone now. That's what she said to me as a little kid. Whatever whatever problems you have with someone in life, when they have passed on, if they pass on before you do, it's done. It's ended. It's over because they're dead. So Saturday night, my new friend and we had a staycation in Atlanta. And I woke up in the middle of the night, about 2, 3 in the morning. You know, prostate issues. You get older. You guys know what I'm talking about. I had to go to the bathroom. Couldn't go right back to sleep, so I picked up my phone. And I see the breaking news alert on my phone. Lindsey Graham, dead. I thought at first, I was like, huh? What? That can't be true. I Googled, AI'd it, whatever you want to call it now. And it said Lindsey Graham's team sent out a yada, yada, yada. And whatever term they use, now we know it was a heart attack. But I said, the first thing I thought when I confirmed that it was real news, the first thing that I did was, oh my God, this is so sad. My condolences to his family. And I said a little prayer. God bless Lindsey Graham's soul. That's what I said in my head in that hotel with my friend. Stayed at the Nobu right here in Buckhead. Great hotel, by the way. And so I just That was my first thought. I don't know what yours was. I don't know your politics, but I know I was raised as a human being that my first thought when hearing about Lindsey Graham passing away was to close my eyes, say a quick prayer, and give my condolences to no one in particular, because I was in a hotel room with my new friend. So she was asleep, so I wasn't even talking to her. But that's just who I was raised. I posted it at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was still up. I posted on Facebook. Sad news, rest in peace, sad Southern news. May God bless his soul. And a number of people that came on my page, just mean, vitriol, evil stuff. I even had Republicans ask me, hey, you going to say something to these mean and evil people? And I'm thinking to myself, I wrote back to them, no, I'm not, because I allow mean and evil right-leaning people to say stuff. So no, I'm not going to say anything. Because you're the same group of people who, when Trump said, good, Robert Mueller's dead, glad he's dead, you all said, well, at least he's being honest. Remember that? But I bring this up to say I don't know the world that I live in anymore. I don't know the world that I live in anymore. It never used to be like this. The only other time in my life I remember this was when I was in high school and an upperclassman, when Reagan was shot, an upperclassman was running around the campus saying, Reagan was shot. Oh, Reagan, yay, yay, he was shot. Finally, they got him. And I'm thinking, even then, I wasn't a political person then. I played sports. I was only concerned about baseball, football, and basketball. But even then, I was like, oh, you're happy someone got shot? Like, I wasn't even thinking the president or anything. I just was thinking in my head, you're happy someone got shot? What kind of person are you? Like, what kind of person are you? That when you hear someone died of a heart attack in the middle of the night, your first reaction is to cheer. And I don't care. This is right now we're talking about Lindsey Graham and the left. Trust me, the right is no better. I saw it out of you guys when Rob Reiner died, when Bob Mueller died. I saw it out of you when Colin Powell died. It's the same thing, the same reaction. Charlie Kirk gets assassinated on video, and I see the left cheer. Where do we come from? Who raised you people? I don't care. I'm talking to everybody right now. Who raised you? I was raised by a God-fearing West Indian woman by the name of Lateria Lockhart, who told me that's not what you do. Not as a Christian, not as a black man, not as a New Yorker, not as a Jamaican of Jamaican heritage, not as American, as a human. As a human being. You don't cheer when someone dies. Particularly just because you disagree with their politics. Let me read to you what, where is it here? Let me read to you what Senator Warnock said. This is Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. Lindsey Graham spent his entire life in public service, first in the military, then in public office. I am shocked by his sudden loss, and I pray God's grace upon his family and loved ones. Senator Warnock, the same people you right-leaning Christians call not a real reverend because he's for abortion. That's what you say to him every single day. That's his response when he heard a fellow senator passed away. Reverend Sharpton, I extend my sincere condolences to the family of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. Though Senator Graham and I had stark political differences, we shared light moments talking about our respective relationships with the godfather of soul, James Brown. That's what Reverend Sharpton said. Note that these are two African-American men who probably had stark differences, as they both said, with Lindsey Graham, but still extended their condolences. Why? Because they're real reverends, number one. Number two, they're human beings. They're human beings. Will you extend that grace to them if they pass away? Will the left extend that grace to anybody on the right when they pass away? And then understand this, Senator Warnock and Al Sharpton are being dragged right now as I speak by their respective side. That's weak. I can't believe you said nice things about him. And I'm thinking to myself, don't you understand they're reverends? They're pastors? It's what they do. They're Christians. I don't recognize this world we live in anymore. People are so mean and evil, and everybody thinks it's the other side. No, it's everybody. It's everybody. Rest in peace, Lindsey Graham. My condolences to your family. Do I have political differences with Lindsey Graham? Of course I do. I could tell you that any day of the week, tomorrow, later on in the show, or next month. But tonight, rest in peace, my brother. God bless your soul. It's the Shelley Winter Show. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB-TALK. When we come back, I got Bill Crane in the studio.